Hello and welcome to the Reds Report, Barnsley FC's longest running podcast, powered by the best of Barnsley and part of the TalkSport network of fans. As always, I was going to say in the studio, but I'm in the spare bedroom. Obviously,
Mate,
Steve, if
spare
you're watching
bedroom.
us on YouTube, is in the West Wing with
I'm
the
in West Wing
piano.
today. Yeah.
And I think Ian, like me, is somewhere in a bedroom
I've
somewhere.
been I've been relegated to spare bedroom, come
Yeah,
office.
same here. So as you heard him there, Ian from the Tigers vlog and Steve Andrews with us again this evening. Lads, how are we doing?
Very well.
Very good, sir. I've just dined hugely upon fish and chips.
Oh, what?
So
Did
I'm
the
as fat
servants
as
bring that? Was it freshly made or?
No, I went out this morning on my yacht and caught it. A nice little bit of sea bream. Nipped down a Jersey, picked some potatoes up. Went up to my friends at Oh My Cod near Barnsley Hospital. Other chip shops are available, but this is the best one by a long way. And yes, I just had a little bit of balsamic vinegar and a glass of Chablis, and everybody's happy, aren't they? And if you believe any of that, I've got a cup of tea and it were dead right, fish and chips, no wrong.
Next week on Cooking with Steve, we're making summer salad. Boys.
Salad? Nah, I know you're lying.
Boys, we talked about it last week. A lot was made about that home match against Derby County. I actually found out it was the Addersley Reds that started with let's bring your scarves and making a scarf day, and then obviously everybody got involved. A sold out away end always helps with the atmosphere. Altogether, 17,000 people inside Oakwell. That is probably one of the best matches we've had in the last few years. And then to set the tone, 30 seconds after kickoff, Ian, Adam Phillips sort of lets people know that today we are up for it. Because what a battle that was.
Oh, it was about, and I mean, we said off air, but fair play. Let's get it in now. Fair play to referee as well. Probably best ref we've had this season, and probably ideal because it was a feisty, certainly first half, but good intent. There was nothing OTT, but he let it play, and it turned out certainly first half. Well, the whole game was a great game on it. Great performance, like you say. Set the tone. First 30 seconds, bang, you're in a game, lads, and crowd and. The goals come at good times, kept the crowd up throughout. Me and Steve had a couple of pre-match pints, didn't we, in the town centre?
Excellent. White Bear. Other pubs are available, but it's a nice pub in White Bear. It's all right. Don't you worry.
But I felt you felt the buzz an hour and a half before the game. It felt like we were at an away match and we were in like the away pub. You just felt around town. You could sense it, the buzz, and it carried on right through till 5 o'clock, which was great because. We were talking to your lad, Steve, weren't we? And he was thinking, we'll be 2 down by 6 minutes. I'll be on for half time.
Yeah, that were our Alex. If anybody knows him, they know exactly what we're talking about there. Yeah, Mr. Happy.
Other sons are available.
Yeah. Other sons. I wish other sons were available. Anyway, no, I don't. Obviously.
But to be fair, it went perfectly well, didn't it? And great game management again by Duff, and we absolutely put them to the sword.
And before we go on to the match, Steve, and I'm not saying you're old, but I know you remember the FA Cup victory in 1912. But
it was a good game. It was a good game. I was sat behind a post, though. I didn't get a right good view. But anyway, go on.
Ian just said it. Obviously, we had a really good season during lockdown on the Valerian as well, where we got to the playoffs. What can you compare the atmosphere with? Was it like, the big FA Cup matches against maybe Chelsea where everybody sort of got behind? What was it back to the 2016 where everything we sort of touched turned to gold kind of thing? Was it one of those that people will remember for a long time?
Yeah, and for all the right reasons as well. One thing I have got to say, considering there were 17,500 there and 5,000 Derby fans, I thought, and I don't know if anybody will agree with me, Derby fans were very quiet. Yeah. I know it were a full end, and it started off, there were a little bit of banter between fans backwards and forwards. But after our first goal, even when they scored, it just seemed to quiet. They were very subdued. And I mean, after we'd scored second, it were one of them we can see you sneaking out sort of things. They were very, very quiet. all
Did
the
you
atmosphere.
Did you see the fire drill after 70 minutes in the away end?
Yeah,
Must have been
I
an
could hear a
alarm
bell
go
going.
off.
It was like being at work. Everybody out. Yeah. No, it was. I think the atmosphere was generated 95% by Barnsley. We were singing. I mean, Pontien, that top left-hand corner is always vociferous. And write that word down. You can look it up later. You know, they were really, really good. But it was all round. East Stand as well, West Stand. Everybody was up for it.
And they got the music right.
Music were very good. I've got to say, music were very good. Kept it going. However, still had to play it, didn't they? But I suppose if we can let them off for one thing, it'll be that for Saturday. But I still wish they hadn't played it. But then there you go.
Let's start with matters on the pitch then. We've said for weeks, and I'm not just saying it, but you know, we have been saying for weeks that Norwood and Cole it's a golden combination at the moment, isn't it? Norwood's in the goals. I know Cole's gone on a bit of a streak where he's not scoring, but again, we have been saying sometimes it's to work off the ball. Somebody could score a perler 5 yard outside the penalty box on a half volley with his eyes closed and his hands in his pockets. But actually, it might be Cole that interrupted the goalkeeper so he couldn't clear it as fast. So in the build-up, he was normally involved. To get a goal then on 21 minutes for Devante Cole, I mean, that is not only, again, you know, we were right, but he deserved that, didn't he? Because he's been working very, very hard, Steve.
Yeah. I obviously said that Devante Cole would get the first goal. Anybody who wants to listen to any previous episodes knows that I am always very good at predicting who's going to be the first goal scorer. I'll be quite honest, I preferred his second goal. I thought his second goal was he went round, I don't know, 18 players and he'd lost it and got it back, lost it and got it back and finished. And that just epitomised what he's been doing for the last 8, 9, 10 games. Is being poo-pooed by some supporters, but he's always putting that work rate in, and that he deserved both goals. But that just showed that his determination and his skill. You know, at the beginning of the season, we were all saying, "Oh, Devante Cole, don't know whether he can cut it in this league." But I think he's certainly stepped up and shown that he has got some skills. He has got a bit of pace. He can finish.
Yeah.
But that partnership now with Norwood, nobody's breaking that. Even when Watters is back, I'm sorry, unless one of them has an absolute stinker, they should be first two names on team sheet for me.
And the only reason, Ian, you would probably take one of them off is because the amount of running and chasing that they're doing, and to maybe bring some fresh legs on. And talk about the second goal then, because we've mentioned Adam Phillips before, where we say, you know, Duff said it, didn't he, in the press conference afterwards, that Adam Phillips can be really quiet, and then he pops up with a goal, and then he goes sort of quiet, and they're working on those times sort of in between. Barnsley then go 2-0 up. I mean, the atmosphere then, listen, it's never in the bag, even on 33 minutes. But that's when, I suppose, everybody starts bouncing. And as a Derby fan, you think, what's the day going to bring? Why have I travelled an hour north to see this? Because at this point, we were firmly on top already.
Yes. We were winning all the individual battles. Collectively, we were winning the battles. I felt that that like Steve was saying, that goal, the second goal, just like a real team, individuals, but team goal as well. It's interesting what Duff come out with Phillips, because again, he must have been listening to the show, because we've been saying it for weeks, haven't we, that he went something like 5 or 6 games in a row, didn't he, where he scored, and he started his scoring streak again, but he only plays for 5 minutes, scores, always pops up at the edge of the area, nobody's ever marking him, scores a great goal, but does nothing for 80 odd minutes, or he bobs around in the game. And it was interesting, Duff coming out and saying, we're trying to work on him, and say to him, you need to work for the other 80 minutes and stuff. It's great that you're scoring, but all the players we're in a really good position that all the players are responding. So the front two, Norwood has been doing it for a number of weeks as well, absolutely running his socks off, harassing the defenders. A lot of their problem, a lot of the goals came from their errors. Yeah. And this is a team that's lost once since October, and they look like rabbits in the light, didn't they? Went with our press. But we've got a really good thing that you can bring Cole and Norwood off, and then you bring Luke Thomas on. And I know it was a gift, but it was a nice finish for him, wasn't it, for the fourth?
Yeah.
And we're really in a good position that we can bring people off who've flogged themselves for 60 minutes and then bring somebody else on who'll flog themselves for 30 minutes. A bit like under Ishmael.
Yeah. It's really not funny, but on match day, the club, couple of hours before, we'll put a playlist out, and it's a players playlist that's played while they're warming up. And it was Ollie Shaw, and he wasn't even in the squad. he said afterwards, because he had a game plan that if we were going ahead, he was going to switch positions and play three up front. And he was really honest, saying people like Thomas have played it when we play three up front already, so he's far more comfortable. So it's not about he's better than in this situation. He's got more experience and everything. And let's just go back though. So Philip scores. It's 2-0. Steve, McGoldrick then pops up with the goal. It's 2-1. Is that twitchy bum time, or was there always? Because that can sometimes turn things then, can't it? You're 2-0 off, everybody's smiling. They scored a goal. It can turn. I sort of sense that actually it was all, and I say it was never in doubt. In the moment, you still, but actually, there was no fear that Barnsley would crumple, because one thing I thought is the second ball, more than any other match I can remember, we won that second ball. Whereas, people like Luke O'Connell did jumping for balls, whereas normally they never would. We have to mention again Herbie Kane, going ball, losing it, and then stretching on the floor to try and get it to a defender. Everybody working so hard. Was there a bit of a change in atmosphere when they got their goal, or was it?
Well, it's at 2-1. There's always that chance that then they go and get another one to a piece, and then it's like, let's start all over again. I don't think there was a fear. There's always that little bit at the back of your mind saying, "Hey, are we going to throw it away?" But they actually never did that. They didn't take their foot off pedal. They just kept pushing. They kept battling. They kept winning that second ball. I mean, his goal, I'm not being, it was a lovely finish. He lifted it over Eisted. He went through two defenders and lifted it over Eisted, and it were a nice finish. But that's what he's capable of. But I think that was the only time that we actually let him get away. Their strikers actually were marshalled really well by Anderson and Thomas and Kitchen again. Somebody else that's really stepping up this season, I think.
I think just on Kitchen there, I think their main threat in that first half was the winger Mendes Lang down.
He were like lightning him, weren't he? How quick were he getting that? Because he were leaving Cadden for dead. He left Cadden for dead 2 or 3 times.
He looks a championship player, and he's not a League One player. And Cadden and Kitchen, the two of them had to kind of double up on him, and we were struggling. Well, not say struggling at times, but he was getting something out of us. And I thought, fair play to Kitchen. He kept his discipline, and I didn't see as much of him in that second half. I know they made quite a lot of changes, but fair play to, like you say, to our left-hand side for trying to nullify him as much as possible, because he could have, on another day, run us ragged.
I think Cadden looked, for that first 10, 15 minutes for me, Cadden looked not to be at races. Obviously, his wife's just had a little boy, and they'll be having late nights, and he'll be getting up at middle at night and all that sort of thing, maybe. So I thought, it's game too soon. Maybe he shouldn't have started. But yeah, like you said, Kitchen backed him up. You could see him having a few words after one of Mendes Lang's run and cross that were close. And after that, they just he never got out. Well, he didn't not hardly get a touch, but they certainly kept him quiet.
Yeah.
Somebody we've not talked about a lot, but that's changing because we are now. Let's just look at the stats. Derby, Barnsley versus Derby. Both teams had 10 shots. Both teams had 5 on target. Barnsley had 4 on target, and Derby had 5 on target. What a different impact Harry Istad has made since he joined. We've talked a lot about Collins. There's always that worry. There's always that doubt. Without being disrespectful to Brad Collins, it's almost like, I know it's injury, but we've traded it in for a better model. if I dare say that. I mean, this was a lad who couldn't get a game for, is it Luton? And his impact is a little bit like when Luke Steele came on an emergency loan and just started saving every ball that ever was, came his way. Does he give, because you talked about Kitchen, does he give the defence that extra bit of confidence, Ian? Because he's just been absolutely solid.
Absolutely. The whole of the Ponty end has that kind of confidence as well. There's no, and again, I don't want to be too disrespectful to Brad Collins, but you always think there's a bit of a rick in there. There's always something where he just switches off in a game somewhere where the ball's at his feet or his distribution's not great or something. But instead of just come in and to come in those circumstances and so far so good, not put a foot wrong, and he just oozes that kind of. He's in control. He's in control, and it just kind of makes that back three more settled as well, doesn't it? And absolutely nothing but praise for the lad. I think he's. I'm not sure is he out of contract at the end of the summer. If he's playing for a contract, then Khaled needs to get that pen out definitely because we wouldn't like to let him go.
You've gone from an Austin Allegro to a Volvo, haven't you? Let's be honest. Because he just he gives to me no, because he doesn't strike me as being a flashy keeper. No, everything he does is concentrating. He gives confidence. Everything there, it just oozes out of him without having to be flashy. I mean, he pulled off 2 or 3 saves on Saturday that would have put Derby back into it.
I tell you what, I thought he was excellent at. He was brilliant at catching. He didn't drop one. He didn't make a mistake because they pumped some high balls in that second half, and he plucked under a lot of pressure as well in his penalty area with bodies flying around, and he caught every single one without any fuss. And
there's a few times, let's face it, for corners, Collins he couldn't catch a cold, could he? Just flaps at it and gone. But it's just confidence.
He likes to punch when he doesn't need to, when it's easier to catch. Whereas instead, I'm catching that and it sticks. Whereas, Collins, and I don't want to diss him too much, but he punches when he needs to catch. And he just does the basics really, really well. And that's what you need.
And as a keeper, it's we don't change keeper very often unless you're having some sort of cup run. So, I mean, he was brought in. Bolton obviously went the other way. And then it just happened that obviously Collins got this injury. I know Steve said, and he did. I have listened back. You did say Devante Cole. Well done, Steve. I was the only one that said Barnsley would win and Luke Thomas would score the last goal.
That's true, mate. What did Ian say? I can't remember what Ian did. Did Ian get out last week? I can't remember whether Ian got out last week.
Sorry, breaking up, Steve. I can't hear you.
Oh, sorry, mate. Internet, mate. Internet.
I've listened back. Ian said we will start with 11 players and most likely play in red. So he was right.
So he weren't far. Yeah, he weren't far off then. He weren't far off. Although we did go down to 10 towards end, didn't we? Go on, I'll leave that one for you. You know why? That's my. Oh no! Straight up at top. There's people out there going, "Come on, Carlo, you know what he's talking about." He came on for what, last 10, 15 minutes?
Oh yeah.
And all I saw, and I know I diss him. But anybody who watched him on Saturday, he never went close enough to an opposing player to make a challenge. He would jockeying with him. He was sort of trying to block him, but when it actually came to putting a foot in and stopping it, he just didn't want to know. Did not want to know.
He's probably one of the only players who comes off that pitch and his kit doesn't need to go in wash.
No. He's that same kit on now for the last 4 weeks. His mum doesn't have to wash it at all.
One of the players whose kid does need to be washed after he's been on the pitch, because let's just talk about him a little bit, is Luke Thomas. I did say because it was his old team and everything else, but with what that lad's been through, with being out on loan, being, dare we say, belittled, and in a real dark place, he come back to Barnsley early in the summer, early in the season, very much I think the star player, the player that made things happen, the player that scored goals. Then he has a horrific injury, and then the second match back is a home match against his old team. Listen, I know we didn't go past 3 people and put it in the top corner, but a goal's a goal. in front of the punty end, that will have meant a hell of a lot to him, won't it, Steve?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Confidence. I mean, he came off bench in last game, more of a warm up than anything else. I'm sure he came on Saturday and thought, team's flying. It's purring like a Rolls Royce. I've only got to fit in here, and there could be something there for me. And he were alive. Yeah, ball came across to him. He were a fair way out, to be fair, for him to hit it first time. But you know what? Like you say, he's definitely had his issues and his troubles. But yet again, he's come back stronger. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And as we always do as supporters at Barnsley, we take these players to our hearts and we want them to do well. And we are so pleased when it happens like that. Mads Andersen, another prime example. Shocking, terrible player. We're never going to kick a ball again. COVID actually for him were a godsend because it gave him chance to develop. He didn't have people on his back, be it rightly or wrongly. And he's another player that's come through now, and we all love him to bits. And
don't forget, Steve, some of these players like Mads Andersen, how many managers have they had in a relatively short time at Barnsley? I mean, for some of them, they'd want to go because the club's in a mess. I mean, last year with Conway and everything else that happened, we pick our players here. We say, that's fantastic, and Kitchen's doing really well, and Mads Andersen is a born leader, and we'll be heaping praise on Thomas and on Cole and on everybody else. Michael Duff, I mean, again, press conference ready for Saturday. Ian's had enough. He says,
he's gone. Oh, no, he's back. No, he's all right. Their lass has just been in. She's just started him. Get tea's ready. Go on, Ian. Your lass is shouting it. Tea's ready, mate.
I said to her tonight, I said, no, nobody starring. She went, hey, but else you were our talk at podcast last week.
Yeah, get her on. Get her in.
I'm just thinking, if she keeps appearing, I might do like an OnlyFans if people want to see her. Michael Duff in the preview for this Saturday's match, and Mads Andersen both said we follow the process and we trust the process. And this is for both, something is clicking, isn't it? Because despite the build-up and despite on all the hype, the players were just concentrated. One of you said it earlier, they won their individual battles. If the next one didn't, then they came to help. The second ball was won by Barnsley. In the form table at the moment, we are the third best performing team in Europe, by the way, which I thought was really good. Last 6 matches, it's between us and Sheffield Wednesday, but we've scored 3 goals more than them. So we are top of the form table for League One. 5 wins, 1 draw, 16 goals for, 4 against, and Wednesday of 13 for and 4 against.
I've got to throw one in here, Carlo, just while you're doing that then, mate, because I'm really intrigued now, as is everybody else, obviously. Who's 2 teams in Europe that's above us then?
Oh, mate, I have to go back to social media, don't I?
Oh, I'm sorry, but
Well, listen, Bristol Rovers in the same form table, League One, are 19th. Out of the last 6, they've won 1, they've drawn 1, and they've lost 4. 5 goals for, 10 against. Ian, you can never guarantee a whitewash, but if Barnsley stick to the process and trust the process, that will be another really like an away banker, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but I liked what Duff came out with after the game. He said, great performance against Derby, but I've told the players it means nothing if we don't turn up on Saturday against Bristol Rovers. And that's what I like. 1 game at a time. We've got a busy month. 1 game at a time. Trust the process. Prepare the players for Bristol. Turn up. A bit like probably the speech you'd probably have had at Cheltenham. Be careful, it's a potential banana skin. They went there, started the game really well, controlled it and won it straight, quite straightforward. And I think it needs to be the same again. Derby was great. We're still basking in it, but the players need to sort of move on and 1 game at a time. And I think, like you say, with the form table and everything, and the way Duff's got this group playing, we are a very dangerous team in that top 6. And I know we dream a little bit that we could catch Plymouth in second, but anything's possible at the moment.
Steve, would you make any changes?
Only on bench. No. For me on Saturday, team picks itself. Everybody, every player to a man deserves the shirt, and I think, like we said earlier, that was definitely the difference on Saturday. If somebody had made a bit of a rick or lost a bit of summit or whatever, it was tidied up by somebody else. And the team spirit there on Saturday, you could see it, you could smell it. It were amazing, and it'll carry on. I'm sure it'll carry on into this Saturday. But for me, there's no change. No, there's no change on Saturday. Go it first 11 again, and let them enjoy it. For me,
it's the start of a tricky period now, isn't it? You play Bristol Rovers away, and then Tuesday night we're at home against Portsmouth, followed by Plymouth at home on the Saturday. I mean, Portsmouth and Plymouth in the same week. You look at the table, and that's not going to be easy. But then the week after, you've got Wycombe Wanderers, change of manager, but it sometimes that new manager effect will kick in. And the week after that, you've got Sheffield Wednesday on a Tuesday night, followed by Ipswich. I mean, March will probably, is it too early to say, when I say make or break our season, if we want to go for that second automatic spot, it needs to happen in March, doesn't it, Ian?
Yeah, and that result on Saturday will have reverberated right through the league. There will have been teams in that top 6, 7 who'd have looked at that and gone, 4-1. I think we're the only team to put 4 past them this season, I think. So, yeah, us as fans, we're looking at all the games, aren't we? But Duff and the players, I think, are just taking it one game at a time, and that's probably right. But I think there's no reason. I mean, we're not going to win them all. We know that. But a couple of draws here and there and a couple of victories, you'd take that as well, wouldn't you? Against your sort of those proverbial 6-pointers.
Yeah.
One of the stats that came out, we talked about goals earlier. We talked about maybe Cole not scoring, but definitely creating, no being in the goals. In the league, Barnsley are number 1 goal scored outside the box. So we've scored 15. Phillips scored 4, Benson 3. Can you remember Benson? I know he's injured, but yeah. Connell 2, Kane 2, Luke Thomas 2, yeah, Williams 2. Ipswich second on 13, as is Wycombe, and then it's Burnley, Sheffield Wednesday, and Salford. The spread of goals, Ian, has helped us as well, hasn't it? Because we've not really got that 20-25 goal striker.
No.
But it doesn't matter when people like Phillips, when people like Connell and Benson and Thomas chip in and do their bit.
Yeah, and that's been the story of our season, I think, from the start, really, that while it's nice that Cole and Norwood have been chipping in, the goals have been shared around. So the opposition, who do you mark? You might try and mark Norwood out the game, but Cole will pop up, vice versa, or a midfielder will pop up. So that's been the story of our season, which is really pleasing, without a shadow of a doubt. And what I'm really pleased about, excited about, really, is we seem to be getting over this injury crisis that we've had pretty much from August, where we've had some shocking injuries. There's players coming back. Benson's back. Waters is back on Saturday. They'll probably go on the bench. But we've suddenly got 2 players for most positions now, which is a good transfer window, and players are coming back from injury, which means we can really rotate. Now we're going to play every few days. We're in fine form. We're in a good place. The fans and the team are aligned, and Duff will have options off the bench. So it's all good.
Steve, is there a little bit of a danger that we are now starting, because of what we've seen, that we almost asked to, if we go to Bristol, we would 1-0. It's a good result, isn't it? Is that enough? Do we now expect maybe more from the team as well, knowing full well of what we're capable of?
No, I don't think we should. I don't think we should put that pressure on. It's same with Luke Thomas, isn't he? He's come back, he's on for 10 minutes and he scores a goal. Brilliant. But he'll probably be on bench again on Saturday, which is fine. He doesn't need that pressure. the team doesn't need that pressure. If we play it next 6 games and we won all 6 games 1-0, we'd all be ecstatic. It doesn't have to be a hiding. It doesn't have to be 3, 4, 5, or 6 for me. I will take a good performance and a 1-0 win all day long. But on the flip side to that, we will probably lose 1, if not possibly 2, of the next 6, I think, personally.
Yeah.
But it's not the end of the world. It's not, oh my God, wheels are falling off, players are crap, sack Duff. That's the thing we don't want to be getting caught into. And I just don't think the players, and I don't think Michael Duff will allow that to happen. I agree with what Ian says. At the next 6 games that you've listed who we play, I've just jotted it down here. I think if we could get 12 points out of 6 games, that's your 3 wins, 3 draws. I'm not putting a loss in there. I think that would be an absolutely fantastic run. I think we're looking really good for a playoff place now. Again, don't want to get too ahead of ourselves, but you know what? Hotel rooms booked, cars ready, petrol's in.
We were talking this, weren't we, on Saturday?
Hey, we're going, mate. There's no 2 ways. We know where we're stopping. Don't tell anybody though, because we don't want no groupies.
We're going to do a live pod as well, aren't we?
Live pod from Carlo's hotel room. Say hello to my little friend.
Get it on YouTube.
So a successful day then, away at Bristol Rovers on Saturday. Obviously, Joey Barton team would be 3 points, couple of goals, no teeth lost, and everybody would be like really happy, wouldn't they? We have to finish then with, as always, with the forecast. Ian, put you on the block first. Barnsley away at Bristol. Full-time result and first goal scorer, please.
2-0 to Reds, and I'm going to say Cole's going to continue this goal scoring streak, and I think he'll get the first.
Steve.
2-0, same. Norwood for me, because he's due, and I think it'll be Duff in 4th round with a straight knockout. and then taking on what? Toby Fury, Logan Paul, or just Jake Paul? It'd be Jake Paul a bit next one, won't he? You know what I mean? And then he's on YouTube sensation Michael Duff, Michael the Destroyer Duff. That's what it'll be.
That's in the summer break. 3-1 to the Reds. Barnsley still one of the only sides, I think, rare, isn't it? We've not been awarded a penalty yet this season. I've got this feeling that Bristol will get a penalty. 3-1. I don't know whether to go for Mads Anderson or Bobby Thomas. Obviously, both Bobby and Luke Thomas facing the former side. They've both played for Bristol Rovers. Maybe I just ought to go with Thomas to score. Just say Thomas with that slip. Then I can sort of double up, can't I?
Hey, just as an interesting point though, boys, if we do get a penalty, who's taking it?
Who's taking it, yeah.
I don't know. Well, I don't know.
If Benson's on the pitch, didn't Benson take that one against Crewe in the cup? So I think he say he was having them, but he took it off. Did he? He took it off somebody, didn't he? And he got the 3rd goal in that Crewe in that FA Cup game. But Benson probably won't be on the pitch if we get a pen, and he'll be. So it's an interesting one. That maybe.
There you go. You see.
I don't know. It's a good one.
Phillips, if Phillips is on, Phillips can strike a mean ball when he wants to.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's one for you to ponder.
But it's not going to happen anyway. So let's move on.
No, probably not. No.
Let's hope for those travelling down. Obviously, safe journey back as well. 3 points, and I think if anything's shown us in any sort of shape way on Saturdays, if we get a good ref, we get the best out of Barnsley as well. We don't need the theatrics, and I think a little bit of credit to Derby as well for not making a mountain out of a molehill, and it was it was a battle at times, but at least he let play go on, and that's when I think you get the best. When it's constantly stop, back, throw in, it stop start. It's no good. But so 3 points we're all going for on Saturday, and we'll record again next week. And obviously by then we'll have the Bristol result and the Pompey result, which is a Tuesday night match at Oakwell, and we can then look forward to the visit of Plymouth. And Ian,
Yes.
of all the times to book a holiday, right? Of all the months to book a holiday,
Madness.
absolutely, fantastic. You're going away,
I am. So I'll be raising a beer at Manchester Airport on Saturday afternoon to Reds to get 3 points at Bristol, and I'll end up missing 3 games because we play Tuesday and I don't come back till late on the following Saturday. So
are you taking your laptop with you? No. Are we doing show from side of the pool? You could do one of them cameo appearances at side at pool with your budgie smugglers on. Get your lass on, waving. Coconut daiquiri, beautiful.
Can I just say that if we're recording, can we do it early on in the afternoon? Otherwise, either be like, I don't want more drink.
No, he's got to be sensible now. He's got a new car now, hasn't he? Seen his new car, his new Pimpmobile. I've seen it. Black tart windows, load of smoke coming out when he opened the window. I know what he's got on. All that funny hippity hop music, whatever it's called.
And I've got a nice little parking space as well, Anton, in Barnsley Town Centre for future games as well.
Yes,
shut up, people might be listening. Shh.
For any further information, if you go on Twitter and you just hashtag where can I park Steve, and then he'll respond to you and give you an allocated day.
That's really funny you should say that, because I had a message yesterday from my facilities manager who actually follows Reds Report and Tyke's blog, and I never knew, and he had told me yesterday, I didn't realise it were you that were on it. So now, just, when I get my P45 when I get into work on Monday morning, anybody got any jobs?
But it was worth it for the free parking, wasn't it? Let's face it.
It was, mate. Yeah, true.
Ian, have a fantastic time on holiday. I might just ask you a couple of questions to send me a voice note, and we'll use that. We're not going to ask you to join us from the side of the pool, because I know you've got far better things to do, because it's more than likely a free bar and you've got all inclusive. So, but have a whale of a time, and let's see. So if he misses 3 matches, then Steve, how many points better off will we be by the time Ian joins us again?
Who have we got? Bristol Rovers, Portsmouth, and Plymouth.
Yeah.
That's a win and 2 draws. There you are. Win and 2 draws, 5 points.
7 points for me.
Yeah.
7?
Yeah.
Who else are we beating?
We win Bristol, we win Portsmouth, and we draw against Plymouth.
Yeah. Yeah, same here. And I've not had a drink.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Have a fantastic time, Ian. Thanks for taking the time. Steve, and for the next week or so, it would just be you and me. So we'll try and sound as intellectual and knowledgeable as Ian is.
Oh, God help him. Just be gentle with me, mate. Just be gentle with me.
In fairness, normally he's put a blog out. I read that and I get the questions from there. So it makes like I always know what I'm talking about. But if he's sat by the side of the pool drinking at 6 a.m, I'm not going to have nothing to read, am I? Anyway.
The thing is, he does that at home at side at jacuzzi. So there's no change apart from it'll be sunny.
Have a fantastic time, Ian. Don't think about us, but we'll miss you like mad. And you'll be listening to the Reds Report, sponsored by the Best of Barnsley and part of the TalkSport network of fans. Exciting times coming up for Barnsley. Lots and lots of matches. We'll be back next week. Thanks for listening.